most of us are chasing another comma in our bank account. We're chasing another house, bigger boat, faster car. It's a Ferris wheel that we all have jumped on. It's a cycle that the world tells us the more stuff you have and the more money you have in your bank account, the better off you are. But we know that when we feel fulfilled is when we are glorifying something bigger than ourselves.
Hey, what's going on? This is Brett Snodgrass with another episode of the Iron Deep podcast. I got Dr. Dave Jones on the podcast with me today. What's going on, Dave?
Man, super excited to be here. I'm excited to talk about identity today. I've been praying about this and this podcast and doing this with you. I'm super excited to be here. So thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm excited too. You have a history, and you've done a lot of different things in your life, Dr. Dave. And just to let you guys in on who Dave Jones is, he has been a professional athlete in the hockey space. He's been in the military. He has a doctorate that we're going to talk about sports psychology, and he's been coaching peak performing athletes for the last decade plus. He's written a book. He's founded M is Good in 2001 and has an R7 process. We're going to talk about that, and let's talk about vision. And today we're going to really dive into identity. And so, Dave, I want to kind of kick it off with this. Obviously, you lived the seasons of your life. You've been in the athletic, military, business owner, entrepreneur. You've led very successful businesses. Was there a certain season that you felt was maybe the most broken of you, or where you kind of got lost in your own identity? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. It really is my motivation and what I do today, and it was a motivation to spend 13 years of chasing a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. But I've had about 57 stitches in my face. I've had 7 concussions, and really my last concussion was the biggest one. But even before that, because hockey was my identity and who I was, and I left that sport, I think my story is probably similar to yours. You were basketball, I was hockey. I had been playing pro in Europe, and that was my life up to about 25. And I already had a poor self-image. I already didn't like myself. I tried to put other people down to make myself look good, which we all know doesn't work. And so I just found myself when I left sports and when I left hockey, I found myself in a curb in a city I'd never been in. And the only way I knew how to kind of scratch out of that deep hole was to put other people down. And so that's where I really want to jump into what I call FLAP today. So that's your fear, lust, anger, pride, that we all navigate in our peaks and valleys. And it's not like we we eliminate fear, we eliminate lust, we eliminate pride, we eliminate our anger, we manage it. And so everything's about peaks and valleys. And so how we manage our fear, lust, anger, pride is really how well I believe that we can be aligned with God's calling in our life. I've worked with so many different executives and professional athletes over the years, and these are the 4 major, I would say, triggers that get in our way, that we try to navigate. And by the way, lust, and some people say, well, lust, I never had a pornography problem. Well, lust comes in different forms, right? Lust can be lusting for a bigger house, a faster car, bigger boat. And so, we think that once we get those things that we're going to be better, when really it's just a masking tool. You're just masking. And that's getting in the way of, your feeling fulfilled in your purpose and your calling.
Yeah. No, I can be right there with you. Fear, lust, anger, pride. And you talked about you had a poor self-image. And where do you think that kind of stems from? You try to mask that and try to make up for it. But you obviously were successful in your industry, right? The hockey arena,
Yeah.
right? You were successful. What do you think happened? Why did you have a poor self image? Why do people have poor self image? Even the most successful people accomplish so much, still struggle with this low self esteem.
Yeah, I mean, behind me is, you see over here, there's a bunch of sports psychology journals. And, what I discovered through my studies that usually the more successful people are, the more dysfunction that there is.
Mm,
And so what we're doing is we're masking that dysfunction. Not everybody. It's not like a general, I mean, it's a general just, statement, but not everybody, but most people, they're masking whatever that issue is. And that issue could be a myriad of things. Usually it stems back to your childhood. For me, it was approval seeking. I never got validation from my parents, so I felt like, well, I know the more goals I scored as a young athlete, the more attention I got. So you know what I did? I learned how to score more goals.
yeah, it's fun.
And
It brings you,
yeah,
yeah, temporary joy, happiness.
yeah.
You
I
get
didn't know that one
applause.
day scoring goals was going to end.
True.
you
What
know,
the crap?
yep. You
What am
know,
I gonna do now?
some of us are old enough to remember Terry Bradshaw from the quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was
Mhm.
clinically depressed. The height of his depression is when he won the Super Bowl,
Wow.
and so he didn't know what to do. So he won another went and won another Super Bowl. Sorry, and so yeah, so most of us are chasing another comma in our bank account. We're chasing another house, bigger boat, faster car, new like it's a Ferris wheel that we all have jumped on, right? It's a cycle that the world tells us the more stuff you have and the more money you have in your bank account, the better off you are. But we
Mhm.
know that when we feel fulfilled is when we are glorifying something bigger than ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I want to get into. I read a book called "The Seasons of Life," and it talked about men. And I use this in some of the talks that I talk about. Is that men typically start off getting approval at the ball court, the hockey arena, or the
Hmm.
baseball field, whatever you call it, and then it typically goes into the bedroom, which is like, hey, can I hook up with women, or how many
Yeah.
women can I date, or get it with, or and then for the rest of their life, it goes to the billfold, which again, it's like, oh, now how much money can I make? That's the same as goals, right? For a
Hmm.
lot of men, um, and we struggle with that. So I want to just talk about you again as I go a little bit deeper into this conversation. If you were to strip away, some of the trophies and things from your own life, maybe the coach, um, that you have, the titles, the doctorate, maybe strip some of that stuff away and talk about you, like at your core identity. Talk about that. And was there a moment in your life that this is a process and it's a journey, but was there something that really shook you up? You're like, man, it just woke you up, or was it just this process where um, yeah? Can you talk about just your own identity, your own journey? Who is Dave Jones at his core?
Yeah, I think my vision is to unify excellence in the marketplace. So that is the cure to flap. Is having a vision that glorifies the Lord. And I think that I want to step back just a second and say that I think that possessions are okay. Having nice stuff is cool, but when you lust over them, it's a different story. And only you know that, and you know that with your heavenly Father. But I've had many times where I've had an epiphany of this sucks, and I need to
Mm,
change, and I don't like who I am, and I need to change. One of the most earliest moments is when I was in Germany, and I was mowing the lawn on a John Deere tractor, and an F-16 was taxiing my way, and we were kind of going in the same path, like it was the tractor and then the airplane. We were kind of going alongside, and I remember looking over to the pilot, and he salutes me, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm on a tractor, and he's in a $50 million aircraft. What's wrong with
mm.
me? Like, I feel so unfulfilled here, and what decisions did he make to get to where he is, and the decisions that I got to be where I'm at, I need to change, And that was really the biggest moment of, like, I need to change. And I just
Mm,
wanna encourage the audience out there that you we all can have these moments. Now, the decision to change comes with change. It's pretty simple. If there's no change, there's no change. But when you change, man, that opens the door to gratitude and thankfulness and forgiveness. The fruits of the spirit come in, love, peace, patience, self-control. um, that sort of overcomes you, to me. And you say, okay, I am grateful, but I want something more, Lord. What is that? Or how do I glorify you in this valley? So
mm,
lots of peaks, lots of valleys for me, but I've kind of learned to glorify him in the valley, right? This
mm,
is awesome. I don't know what the story is here, but I'm going to come through it. Great thing about a valley is, hey, man, we're going on a peak because we're in a valley.
mhm,
Bad thing about a valley
mhm,
is you're going down, bad thing about a peak is you're going in a valley, you know?
mhm.
And so, I've had lots of those moments, man. Like, I got to, this is crazy. You want to hear a story of Dave being in a valley?
Yeah.
I was coaching a bunch of pro hockey players on mental toughness, and I'm in Providence, Rhode Island, and I was standing in the lobby. Okay, standing in the lobby, which actually was opened to the rink, and I just looked behind. Now, if you notice, most hockey rinks, the doors are on the side. This particular rink, the door was on the end by the net, and the door was open. And so a guy took a slap shot, went over the goal through the lobby, and hit me in the skull and cracked my skull.
Wow.
And that was my seventh concussion. And went to the emergency room. There's a whole story of it, man. Like, just totally knocked me out. Um, that's a valley, mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. Like, you know, um, I was saved by the grace of God, honestly, because within 24 hours they put me on an airplane, and that was not a good idea. When you have hemorrhaging and your skull's cracked and you're hemorrhaging, like, you don't want to be on an airplane
Right.
because the altitude increases the blood flow. And, that's where, I think Liam Neeson's wife died from that.
Mm,
But
mhm.
so definitely a valley there.
Yeah. 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 How'd you come out of that? I mean,
Um,
you come out of something like that, you know, I don't that probably took a while to heal from something like that, and then what's that look like?
yeah, I would say that, what got me out of it is prayer. What got me out of it is, the belief that God is present, God is real, and that I can overcome.
Mm, that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
So we talk about this flap. So men, um, it's funny that you talk about fear, and a lot of people I run with, are driven because of fear,
yeah,
and we think, oh, if we can achieve this amount of whatever it is, or recognition or power or money or whatever it is, then maybe that fear will go away. And it doesn't. It never really goes away, until you really work on yourself, and working on your relationship with the Lord. That typically the people who have the most money are just afraid to lose it, so the fear creeps in, right? So,
mhm,
um, and then we have lust, anger, and pride. Where do you kind of start with someone? So I know you work with obviously professional athletes and business entrepreneurs as well. But let's say I'm struggling.
yeah,
I'm struggling, and a lot of times successful people don't even know they're struggling. Like it's like they don't know. Like they have everything the world could offer. So they don't really know. This is just life. They know they're not happy. So, but one of these, but they're just not fulfilled, I guess, right? Maybe is they hit that. So, how do you work with someone like that comes to you?
yeah. So I love to build off of strengths. So I would start with vision, right? Like, what is the vision? And so, God talks about the Bible. Sorry, the Bible talks about vision. Specifically, the reference I love is Habakkuk 2:2. Habakkuk is, at the time, I've kind of looked at Nineveh as New York and Los Angeles in the '70s. Like, anything went in Nineveh. It was crazy time, right? Nobody wanted to go to
Mhm.
Nineveh. Jonah didn't wanna go to Nineveh. No, nobody wants to go there, right?
Mhm.
And so Habakkuk goes up on this watchtower in Habakkuk 2:2 and says, "God, I'm frustrated, man. Like, what is going on? This is crazy. Are you even there? I'm gonna sit here until you answer." And God answers him and says, "Write the vision on a tablet." And then in the Amplified, it says, "Write the vision on a tablet and make it plain so the running by can see it and carry it with them." And so if we translate that onto, like, our lives today, to me, it's like driving down the highway and you see a billboard and it says McDonald's next exit. You can process that if I'm hungry, I'm gonna get off, go to McDonald's, or gas next exit. When you have more than 11 words on a billboard, you're just not gonna remember it. So my
Mm.
vision statement, so then we work on a vision statement. When we start with, the passion that's in your heart, a prayerful passion. It could be excellence, it could be committed, it could be determined, it could be dedicated. What is it that you are passionate about? And in sort of a rough kind of way to get there, we start with what makes you mad. Like, what
Mm.
upsets you? Because if what upsets you, like, I can tell you that what upsets me is, like, I don't like it when people are late. But I wouldn't say my vision is I don't like it when you're late, Brett. You know what I mean? So you flip that to a positive and say, man, I'm always on time. I love being on time. Right. And so I love being committed. I love being dedicated to my family, and so, like, your vision is something that is precious to your heart. It's almost a core value. And so it answers why. Now, I do want to just slow down here and geek out for a second because vision is really, really hard. It is super hard to think about. And let me tell you why. Um, when we're talking about the brain, the amygdala, which is like this pea size, like little acorn, um, in your brain, there's two of them, and it processes everything. It takes the
Mhm.
what, where, when, how, and has this fight or flight response. Yes, I want to be part of it. No, I don't want to be. So it takes all the emotions and sorts them and says, this is good, this is bad. This is where vision sets in. Vision is in the amygdala, whereas the what, where, when, and how sits in the neocortex. So we can say, the church's vision is to, communicate the gospel of Jesus Christ. Now, how are we going to go do that? We're going to go do that with, you know, missions, children's ministry, preaching and teaching, you know, um, worship. We're going to do this a number of different ways. That's kind of the how. That's the mission. So the vision is really, really hard to write. It's 7 to 11 words, no conjunctions. It's short, portable, easy to understand, memorable, inspiring statement. And so I can give you some examples of people in the marketplace that have done this well. Bill Gates, a computer in every home, right? And when he came out with that vision, computers were literally the size of a house.
Mhm.
It was crazy talk. Um, FedEx came out with, we're going to be in every city every day.
Mm.
Like, that was crazy. Now they're in every city every day, 4 times a day. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, it's crazy. So the vision is something that's way out there. It's more inspirational. It's not factual. That sort of navigates that brings us to the North Star of what you're doing. And we position it in a position of strength of what you do well. And then your fear, lust, anger, pride, your flap is something we manage along the way. We don't ever get rid of it. It's like stress. We don't ever get rid of it. There's no such thing as I'm stress free. That doesn't work. We manage the stress.
Right.
We manage our fatigue, we manage our energy. There are peaks and valleys and all that. So,
Mm.
so we start with vision, is the answer.
Yeah, no, that's great. I remember I don't know if this was his vision or not, but Steve Jobs, I just remember, you get the one-liners. I think he said when he came out with the iPod, it was like 1,000 songs in your pocket, and at that time you
That's
had
it.
CDs, right? You had cases of CDs.
Yeah.
Um, what so I know we only got about 10 or 15 minutes left. I want why do you think it's so hard for vision? I know we talked you mentioned that a little bit, but it's funny, like, I can talk to guys about what they do. "Hey, what do you do? What do you like doing? What's your hobbies?" When you start talking about vision, like, there's almost like a freeze, it
Mhm.
just paralyzes people, they're like, "I don't know."
Yeah.
And they don't even wanna talk about it. They don't wanna think about it, they don't wanna talk about it, just paralyzes them. Talk about purpose. Hey, what's your calling, purpose in life? I don't know. Or they might give a vague answer, which, obviously it's to glorify God. Obviously, if you're walking that walk, and that's true.
Yeah.
But
That's not the
yeah,
vision, yeah.
yeah, like what
Yeah.
that's kind of a cop out answer. Yeah, well, of course,
Yeah.
but
So, I'll tell you that it's hard for a reason. The devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy and provide confusion in our life. It's the world around us of the microwave mentality of "I want it quick," and, vision's not that. I will tell you that there are 2 tenets of a human being: the pursuit of pleasure and the avoidance of pain.
mm,
So, vision, you wanna get into my psyche and, like, really work on this and, like, let's grind through it. Nah, let's just go play some golf, man, like, I'm good.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Let's go
Can we
shoot
just have
some
a
guns.
beer and watch the game, man? You know?
Yeah, right, for sure.
Yeah, I don't wanna grind. Grinding
Yeah.
stinks?
Most people will, and I've heard this, I didn't come up with this, but they say most people run faster to get away from pain than they will for pleasure.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
example, like to get in shape, if you're dying and the doctor says, "Hey, you're going to die in 6 months," then you probably are going to get your life together. Some try to,
yeah,
versus just to get in shape, just to be healthier and have energy. That's not worth it. Sometimes,
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
that's what I see.
So, it's a tough process, it's expensive, it's something you gotta grind through, you gotta really look back to really find that nugget of motivation. But
Hmm.
when you do, see, what's cool is when you do, man, the upside is unreal. Fulfillment,
Mm,
right? Um, Not every day, it's not a utopia where it's, all your problems go away. That's not it, man. We gotta grind. We know where we're going. It's a
mhm.
North Star. That road is very narrow. Gotta stay in your lane. Distractions are easy, right? Um, you know, um,
Sure.
some of the most unpopular things, and you probably won't like this, but like, your family, things gets you're super successful in the real estate, like, you sacrificed that vision. You sacrificed your family for that vision to do that at some point. Vision is something that's for you and your vertical
Mhm,
alignment with the Lord. And
mhm.
so things get sacrificed. Things have to
Yeah,
change, right? And,
yeah.
I'm not saying all circumstances, but, like, I had a mentor early on say, "Dave, if you want a new level in your life, get a new set of friends,
Mm,
because 'cause you're the combination of your 5 friends.
mhm.
And so if you don't like that, go get some new friends." That hurt me. But you know what I
No,
did? You know what I did? I went and gotten some new friends, man. Yep. I
yeah,
changed.
yeah. No, I totally agree. Um, you mentioned, I had something on the tip of my tongue there, just family sacrificing certain things. Here it is that a lot of people overcorrect. I've seen this in my own life, and we typically overcorrect. So, like you've talked about, like success, right? And I've chased all this stuff too, chased
Mhm.
money and things and stuff like that. If you looked at my vision board when I was 28, it's different than when I'm 45.
Yeah.
Um, but a lot of times men overcorrect. Like, man, I'm tired of grinding. I'm tired of chasing this, and I got this business, and I'm successful, but this isn't fulfilling. So I'm going to overcorrect and walk away from all of that to go to the mission field
Mhm.
and raise support or whatever it is. Like
Yeah.
or like family. It's like, man, I've sacrificed my family for business. I'm going completely family, 100%, and stay at home dad now. And I've just seen so many things. Can you speak a little bit into that? Because I've done that in my own life. Like we just completely go the opposite direction.
Yeah, I mean,
But I don't
it's
think that's right
natural. I
either.
think there are some thinking traps out there, and one of them is all or nothing thinking. So it's
Hmm.
black and white. I've got athletes that'll say, "Coach doesn't like me." I'm like, "Why?" This was a goalie one time said, "Well, he doesn't like my pads." that are gold. I hate those pads. Coach doesn't like me, you know? Um, that's all or nothing thinking.
Right.
You're associating one thing with everything, you know? I don't have money. I'm a loser. I need to change. No, you're not a loser. You know, your bank account doesn't define you, right?
Yeah.
I don't have geez, I have a boat, but it's kinda small. I wish I had that other boat. I'm not as good as that guy. No, that's not true. That's a lie, you know?
Yeah,
You
right.
know? And so I think it's that, that Old Testament, quid pro quo performance related when, we can't outperform Jesus, man. Like, it's our love that he wants. It's our gratitude that
Mhm.
he wants. It's that performance versus identity that's not easy to navigate, man. This is tough stuff here we're talking about, right?
Yeah,
And it's hard. It's just
yeah.
hard, and it's hard to navigate, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't navigate it. It doesn't mean that you should give up on being fulfilled,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, no,
You've gone
definitely.
through a similar journey, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm still going through the journey,
Yeah,
you
we
know?
all
And
are.
I and
Yeah.
the pendulum swings. Some days, yeah, I'm in the valley, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it just depends on I'm not immune to any of that for the devil to come after me.
None of us
Sometimes
are, man.
when you start getting into this, man, I've had the devil come after me more in the last few years, just since I've started getting in more into this, you know, into this ministry and just trying to, impact people's lives for the kingdom. So that's a long story, but I know we just got a few minutes left here. I want to ask you just a personal question. You mentioned, when you come up with your vision, like I'll ask you, like, what do you hate?
What do I hate?
Yeah, what do you hate?
I hate messiness.
Okay,
I hate
is that why
disorganization. What's that?
your office looks really clean? By the way, like it's super impeccable.
Yeah, um,
I'm like the guy that you see this, but if you were to zoom out, you probably wouldn't
yeah,
like my office. So,
in full transparency, this is my podcast room, so I do keep it clean,
nice.
but I try to keep everything clean, and things get messy, but I just don't like messy, and I don't know what that is, but so I flip that to a positive, and I love excellence, man. I
Mm,
love a VIP experience. I love, follow-up and follow-through. I honestly I don't like details, but you know what? I've learned to love details because that's where the money's at, you know what I mean? That's where the rubber meets the road and understanding where we're going, what we're doing. And so but I've just learned that messy follows me, and I hate it. So
mhm,
I don't try to run from it. I try to embrace it and say,
mhm.
let's clean it up, man. Let's look at this. Give me
Yeah.
everything so I can sort it." And that's where I thrive. That's
Mm.
where M is Good has thrived over the years. This is our 25th year. We're one of the largest Christian ad agencies in the world. Um,
Wow.
yeah. And so, we got some awesome clients that appreciate that detail and that excellence. And, when it comes to media, website, messaging, KPI management, like, there's a lot of detail there that we need to organize.
There is.
And so
There is.
I just thrive in that. And that's what I love that we can thrive in our fulfillment. We can thrive in our bank accounts, but it doesn't have to be our identity. We want to thrive in honoring the Lord with our talents and our abilities. And I am thankful I do that every day. You
Mm.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. That's good. No, I think if we can help, we just need more companies like your organization in the marketplace, leading from faith. If we can help other Christian, kingdom-driven entrepreneurs just to raise up. I mean, I just think, yeah, I just love companies and with integrity, trust. I just love what that's all about. That we can help further the kingdom. So, um, as we wrap up, I want to just ask you, last personal question. Like, you're on podcast. I think you got your book called Vision Wins, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
People can get that. Vision Wins by Dave Jones. And what are you wanting to kind of accomplish by coming on shows and getting the word out, writing a book? Is this part of your marketing or your coaching? Like, what's your kind of vision with some of that? Putting yourself out there and having conversations like this.
Yeah, it's a great question. I just feel like, my story of of faith and building a business and just to inspire people out there. We don't need more business, honestly. We're slammed.
Mhm.
But I love communicating my story to give some people some hope, and so that they can do the same. We get 1 to 2 leads from all around the world uh, a week, and whether we pick them up as a client or not, I always try to encourage everyone that comes through and say, "Thank you for stepping out for the gospel of Jesus Christ, man. We
Mm,
are one of the there's few of us out there anymore, and I would do everything I can to make it successful for you." And so I want to empower, I want to inspire people with I think my simple story of just following the Lord and being attuned to the Holy Spirit as best I can. I make mistakes and just asking for wisdom every day.
mm.
So,
Awesome.
it's a
I
great
love
question.
that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Where can someone just kind of get to reach out to you more? I know you have a couple of podcasts. I am is good, obviously, but
Yeah.
where's the best place?
Yeah, I would just go to emisgood.com and, fill out the
Mhm.
contact form. Those eventually get to me, and I'd love to hear your story.
Yeah. Well, sounds good. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Dave. Really appreciate it going just deep with us on the Iron Deep podcast, and love who you are, what you stand for. Wish you so much success, and thanks again, brother.
Thank you, Brett. Appreciate your time.